Welcome, it's great to have your company. I had a bit of a problem with my outboard and the remote control for it. I've got a Suzuki outboard with a Suzuki remote control. I had some problems, so what I thought I'd do is go through a video of how I repaired it. Having some fun with A-Dog and his family running my Highfield 380 off the beach. Yes, such fun as dragging A-Dog around on his board. But however, you know, when we're taking a boat up to the beach, we have to tilt the outboard so the prop doesn't run in the sand. However, during the course of our fun, the tilt switch stopped working and we couldn't tilt the outboard. So I thought I'd have a bit of a video about how I went about fixing it. Here is the switch that wasn't working. On the side of the throttle handle, you can see it indicated by the red arrow. There is another switch on the outboard itself that was working, so at least I knew the hydraulics was okay. So the problem was that switch or cabling going from that switch to the hydraulics. According to my manual, the wires coming from the switch to the hydraulics are a blue and pink wire. I was able to pick up the blue and pink wire in the outboard, which goes into the connector that you can see near my finger. I tested the continuity of the wiring with a multimeter. The wiring was open, which I expected because the switch wasn't being operated. Using a small F-clamp, I tested the up and down position of the switch and still didn't get a signal into my multimeter. So at this point, I had to assume that the problem was probably in the switch. I took the cover off the throttle handle, and there's the three wires that come from the switch, but I couldn't get any further just by taking the cover off the throttle handle. I had to remove the complete housing because the handle is attached to the housing by a screw that I couldn't get to without removing the housing from the boat. After pulling the handle off, I noticed that the cabling, or the wiring, is actually jammed between the two sections of the housing, which looks like it would damage the wiring. Not a very good design. This is the damage done to the cable by jamming it in the housing. I also noticed that the cable was damaged due to the action of the throttle handle rubbing against it. Once again, not a very good design. In this photograph, you can see I've removed the damaged piece of wiring and I'm ready to solder in some new sections, cover them with shrink fit and some insulating tape and reassemble the whole unit. I'm happy to announce the fact that that was the problem and the tilt now is working perfectly. So all that was left for me to do was to solder in some more wires, put some shrink fit over the top and reassemble it. I didn't have any photographs or videos of me doing the soldering because there was not a very big area to work in, and it's very difficult with my arms soldering iron and solder to try and get a clear picture of me soldering the wires together in this position. But if you want a separate video of how to solder wires together, just jot it down the bottom and I'll make a separate video about that. Now this is the second ending I've done to this video because I did one ending and then forgot one important thing. I did make a couple of criticisms about the design of the throttle handle. So we'll just look at that with a close-up of the throttle handle. Well, let's take the cover back off of the wires again. As you can see, these are the wires that come up to the switch at the top of the throttle handle. You can also see there's a slot there, and as you're going forward and backwards, there is a soaring effect on the cable, and this is one of the problems we have, was that we're slowly soaring through the cable. So may I suggest to the manufacturers that they make this bolt in the center here a little bit bigger and bore a hole in it so that the cabling comes out through the hole in the center of the handle, so that we're not getting this sawtoothing effect. The wiring will come straight up and into the handle, and we won't get this sawtoothing effect. The wires will come in from the back end of the housing, which will also prevent the wires from getting crimped in the two sections of the housing like they were. So may I suggest that to the manufacturers, that they actually look at something like that, so we're not getting this sawtoothing effect and squashing of cables in the housing. Apart from that, that is the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.